let's get a little bit more commentary on what's happening with the meme trade with Matt Kohrs, YouTube host and investor. Matt, great to have you on the program. Again, the meme trade's getting a lot of attention this morning. We were just showing what WallStreetBets is saying about what's been happening here. Tell me about what you're viewing in terms of what's been happening with Bed Bath & Beyond. You surprised? You think this is going to go even higher or even more explosive than we saw in 2021 with GameStop?
You know, it's tough to predict whatever the next bar is going to be, whether it's the minute, the daily, the weekly, the monthly. But right now, the optimism is there. I think things in the retail community were quiet, definitely not non-existent, but quiet through June, July. But something's going on right now. I mean, I was looking at some of the graphics you just had up, and that's a lot of green. Bed Bath & Beyond up 400% since the start of this month. You have AMC up over 60%, GME up a little over 25%. The optimism is there. And if there's the main thing I've learned in the past year and a half of this entire retail saga is as soon as, I guess, let's say Wall Street, like the powers to be, think that retail is gone and they're going to lose interest, kind of when they get caught. And I believe that's what we're witnessing right now.
Is it fair to make the comparison, Matt, to what we saw back in January of 2021? Or is there something that's fundamentally different? I mean, we're still talking about meme stocks. We're still talking about these trading not necessarily on the fundamentals. Is this just a repeat?
You know, I think a lot of them, there could be similarities in terms of just like how quickly it explodes to the upside, but every single one has like its own nuances. And I think that's very important. Like, for example, we could talk about Volkswagen back in 2008, or you could rewind hundreds of years and talk about the tulip mania. So there's similarities, and a lot of it is marked by like a lot of passion and people FOMOing in and just like a lot of community excitement. But I think it's those nuances that are important. As you guys were alluding to a little bit before with Bed Bath & Beyond, you have Ryan Cohen getting about almost 17,000 call options. Well, a guy who kind of knows the inside of the company, that's exciting. With AMC, there's a lot of excitement with the Apes security that's going to be spun off on Monday of this upcoming week. So each one has similarities, but I think it's the nuances that make them, it's important to dive into those differences. I would definitely recommend.
Matt, when we rewind to kind of 2021, and again, I understand that it's kind of a little bit apples and oranges to compare the things, but there were a lot of other stocks that were kind of in the fold as well. When you think about cost, for example, you think about BlackBerry, right, Nokia. But at the same time, what we've seen in this episode, right, you just mentioned AMC. We were just talking about Bed Bath & Beyond. It's kind of all part of the same cinematic universe, right? When you think about AMC and the Apes being the same people that were in GME in 2021, and then Ryan Cohen, who's the chairman of GameStop, really the big driver of the options activity earlier this week, specifically with Bed Bath & Beyond. So is the recipe for a meme stock that's actually going to get any attention that it has to be part of that cinematic universe as well?
In a certain way, like on the highest level, I actually do want to agree with you, because even in the list that you had, there were many, many equities there. But within the retail community, which I'm proudly a part of, a lot of those other ones are not thought of the same way. It's common to like add other ones on, such as Robinhood, which I find that one to be particularly funny because a lot of retail traders, they specifically hate Robinhood because they took away the buy button a year and a half ago. So I would say AMC and GME are thought of very, very differently. But then through the connection with Ryan Cohen, I think now you could successfully say that Bed Bath & Beyond is also kind of in that trio. The other ones, yeah, there's definitely crazy moves, but I don't know if they have as much of that passion and enthusiasm, the community support behind them. And I'm definitely no psychologist whatsoever, but I think even how it got going to begin with, the kind of community cultural wildfire, I think there's that nostalgic value of people. They understood what GameStop was. They've been in that company. They understood what AMC was. They've all seen a movie there. And the other ones, like they might have heard of the company, but I don't know if the nostalgia really followed through.
Matt, how are you positioned among the meme stocks? Let's say Bed Bath. Is that a name that you're getting behind?
I've been watching it on my show just because it's very exciting, but I was a little bit too late to it. I mean, I don't particularly want to chase something that's up 400% in the past 2 weeks, but it's definitely fun. And if I see a dip, maybe I'll get in. But right now, as I'm talking to you live, I have AMC and GME shares, and I also have GME call options. I was going for a sympathy play off the insanity of Bed Bath yesterday.
What's the major media kind of missing here in terms of other possible meme trades? Obviously, you know, it's kind of easy to hone in on one specific stock that's getting a lot of attention. Are you hearing rumblings of, you know, other maybe high short interest stocks that, you know, the meme community wants to kind of get into?
Yeah, other ones are the big one of the day. I would say the past couple of days that they've also been talking about is BBIG. But with that, I think it's very much going to end up being a flash in the pan. And hey, I'm not against that. A trade's a trade. And I think on a higher level of like, what is media getting wrong? Well, you can't treat retail as a monolith. And I think it's very common of like, okay, we're doing a fundamental breakdown. What's a strong investment? Well, right now, retail has proven that there's a big appetite for active trades. And I think that's very, very important. A lot of people paying attention to whether it's the ones we've talked about here or just even other ones. There's a lot of active traders now, which is there's similarities, of course, with investing, but there's also important differences. And I think that's important for like media to get about this group just in the most general sense. But even this BBIG having a good day, I believe Tilray is up. We got some movement there. But a lot of these, they're not quite on that same level or league that I would argue that AMC, GME, and probably now Bed Bath are on. Like the community support a year and a half later, and people, if you look at Twitter, StockTwits, Reddit, like every single day, there's hundreds and hundreds of messages of people talking about what's going on in those particular equities.
Well, Matt, that is why it's good to have your perspective. Appreciate you joining the show today. Matt Kohrs, YouTube host and investor.